The world was witness to a historic handshake as US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-Un met at the Capella Hotel in Singapore, Sentosa Island. The big one-on-one meet is underway between US President and the North Korean leader. This is the first summit between a sitting United States President and a North Korean leader. In fact, the main agenda of the meeting remains denuclearization. And the United States wants Kim to surrender his nuclear arsenal. In fact, Trump also wants Kim to give up producing nuclear weapons. On the other hand, North Korean leader wants Trump to lift sanctions on North Korea and support to stay in power. Further, he wants American troops to be removed from the South Korean side. In fact, both the countries have been at war since the time of the Korean War between 1950 and 1953. Meanwhile, the United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo laid down the possibility of a quick breakthrough between the two countries. In fact, security too has been unprecedented for this momentous summit.
Thank you very much.
Foreign Affairs Editor India Today, Geeta Mohan in the studio with me. We'll get a live update from our colleague Poonam Sharma as well. Let's quickly get across to Poonam first. Poonam, just give us a sense. All right, we'll just go to Poonam. Before we do that, let me put that question to Geeta. Geeta, now 45 minutes of anxiety as far as the entire world is concerned, or what is going to happen between both these leaders. Donald Trump went into this meeting saying it will take him 1 minute to decide whether Kim Jong-Un is serious or not.
Well, Ankit, what needs to be decided and what needs to be really seen as in terms of demands has already been worked out by the two delegations. They've had series of meetings. This basically is a meeting of leaders trying to know each other, whether they can handle each other and work with each other. So it's a get to know each other meeting, because this is the first time that President Trump is meeting Kim Jong-Un, the first US sitting president to be meeting any North Korean leadership. We know that there are two other former presidents of the United States of America who did meet the leadership, the father and the grandfather of Kim Jong-Un. Clinton met the father, and Jimmy Carter had met the grandfather. But both those instances were when they had demitted office, when they no longer were presidents. So this is the first time that a sitting president of the United States of America is meeting with the North Korean leadership. So this 45 minutes of time is for them to get to know each other, to gauge whether if the two sides are serious or whether they're just playing to the domestic audience back home or to certain quarters in the region. And here China is going to be an important factor, Ankit. China is watching and monitoring what is happening in Sentosa today.
You know, Geeta, also talking about the history as far as North Korea is concerned, from his grandfather to his father and now to Kim Jong-Un, what has changed? Because something, apart from having a complete iron-fisted rule as far as North Korea is concerned, what compelled Kim Jong-un to in fact come out and agree to this summit?
Well, there is a lot in terms of when one looks at how they have factored in the fact that they really need to start engaging the international community. One is that Kim Jong-un is not like his father and grandfather. Some say that he in all probability has also turned rogue when it comes to how China really handles and has had a handle on North Korea. So a decision that's being taken by a very young leader. He's quite young compared to what we've seen in terms of engagements by the other North Korean leadership. He's quite young, so he in all probability has taken a leadership call himself as to how he wants to engage the international community. Just engaging with one country has not really done well for the North Korean economy. We see a vast difference and disparity in how South Korea has grown vis-a-vis what North Korea really looks like. Even in the meeting between North Korea and South Korea, the one thing that Kim Jong-un really focused on with the president there was that there is no development, that they need roads, the basic necessities and amenities such as roads, infrastructure. He was focusing on that. So I think there is a bigger issue over here as to what Kim Jong-un really wants North Korea to be. and in that we're looking at him taking a chance. The sanctions have not helped North Korea, although it doesn't mean that they've not had funds. They've always had China funding them. But it seems like he wants to come out on his own and see whether if he can engage the international community, even if that means doing away with part of their nuclear program and the nuclear weapons. We really have to see and wait and see whether if they're going to completely do away with the nuclear weapons. Now that's something that I don't think North Korea is really comfortable and confident about.
Right. What happens after this 45-minute one-on-one between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-Un? Whatever they come out with, and what happens after that? Where does it go from this one-on-one meeting?
Well, after the one-on-one meeting, which has an interpreter on both sides, because both the leaders will be requiring interpreters, even if they were speaking in English. And after that, there is going to be a delegation-level talk between the North Korean leadership and President Donald Trump. Interesting, Ankit, is that even in the delegation-level talks between North Korea and Russia that took place very recently, when the foreign minister of Russia, Lavrov, was in Pyongyang, we saw an entire delegation on one side of 7 Russians and just 1 North Korean leader, Kim Jong-Un. So that picture was really telling in terms of how many advisors does the North Korean leadership have. We'll have to wait and see how many are going to sit on the North Korean side when they're meeting with an entire delegation from the American side. The American side is going to have 4 very key important people when it comes to the delegation of the United States of America. Andrew Kim, who was the head of CIA's Korean Mission Center. Sung Kim, who is the U.S. ambassador to Philippines, a veteran diplomat and a Korea hand. Randall Shriver, who is with Secretary Mattis, the top aide of Secretary Mattis. Alison Hooker, again, she is with the National Security Council. And there was a lot of speculation on whether if Ivanka Trump is going to join Donald Trump or not. For now, we've not seen her, so it doesn't look like she's going to be there anytime soon.
Geeta, there are a lot of people behind this, as you were pointing out, to the delegation from the United States as well. All right, before I go to Geeta, let's also get in a quick word in from Poonam, who is now joining us on the broadcast. Poonam, if I can come to you very quickly, it's been about 10 minutes. Both of them have been in that one-on-one meeting. Donald Trump said it will take him 1 minute, so good signs he's not come out yet.
Guys, is the audio fine?
All right, we'll just try and reconnect with Poonam. We're just adjusting that audio there. Remember, a lot of security, jammers, this and that, already in preparation for this meeting at Sentosa Island. Geeta, we were talking about the US team, which is in fact there for this delegation that will talk. Important person behind this from the North Korean side also is Kim Jong-un's sister. Somebody who has been credited as, someone who has given a complete makeover to this image. She also met Ivanka Trump, as you had pointed out earlier, was seen with him right next to him when the North Korea and South Korea summit took place. She also is, by many foreign journalists at least, believe number 2 as far as the North Korean leadership is concerned.
Well, they're not wrong to believe that, because Kim Yo-jong is a very important part of the North Korean leadership's entire core group. And even when Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, see, Russia and China are very important when it comes to North Korea, and when you look at the region, when that meeting was taking place, it was Kim Yo-jong who was there in that room, who was present in that room, who knows the details and the nitty-gritties of what is happening and the nuances of the North Korea's foreign policy as it is playing out right in front of us. So yes, she is an important part of that delegation and the entire meetings that took took place in terms of the preparations and the preparatory meetings.
Okay.
But again, I'd have to say, Ankit, we do not really know, I do not really know exactly what the delegation really constitutes when it comes to the North Korean side.
Yes.
It was interesting to see how Russia and North Korea had those delegation level talks with just Kim Jong-un sitting with an interpreter.
Well, that made a big statement as well. Let's quickly get across to Poonam, who is now standing by at the Sentosa Island where this historic summit is taking place. Poonam, you know, we were just discussing about the delegation as far as the North and the South Korean teams are concerned for the meeting. After these 45 minutes of one-on-one, it will be very important on who from each side is going to talk and what will be discussed in that meeting.
Yes, absolutely, Ankit. After this 45 minutes one-on-one meeting, the delegation talks are going to be held. These delegation level talks have been happening since yesterday. They've been very intense, and we heard both Mike Pompeo as well as President Donald Trump saying that these talks are happening and moving very, very fast. So clearly, they are working on the joint statement. They are working on the issues that are on the table and that need to be dealt with. I have with me a very special guest right now, Mr. Bharat Gopalaswamy. He's the director of South Asia Center at the think tank Atlantic Council, and he's based out of Washington, D.C. Bharat has been closely watching the pictures that we are seeing since morning. Bharat, what do you make of that handshake?
I think this was, you know, beyond all the skepticism expressed by many analysts. I think in some sense this is, we shouldn't be surprised with the body language. We shouldn't be surprised by the warmth extended on by either parties. And this, you know, there is a burning desire from Donald Trump to get something done, and I also think that desire at many levels is also shared by Kim Jong-Un. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised with the way this is begun, and I'm not surprised with the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we came out with a positive result at the end of the summit, no matter what that positive result would be.
I was just going to ask what that positive result is going to be, because clearly United States of America has said that they will settle for nothing less than complete denuclearization. Does that statement work for North Korea is something that we don't know.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way, right? The United States has said they will settle nothing less than complete, irreversible denuclearization. But having said that, the United States has also said that this should be the beginning of many such meetings, and this should be a step in the right direction, leading towards the complete denuclearization. Now, we all know that complete irreversible denuclearization is not going to happen today, but it's a step that will lay the foundation for something along those lines. But also let's take a step back, right? The United States is not using the language of maximum pressure with North Korea. Now, that is a win already before the summit has started, if we look at it. And also, the release of hostages from Kim Jong-un, the American hostages from when Pompeo brought these hostages back. That is also something both parties have given. North Korea has also placed a moratorium on its flight and ballistic missile flight testing. Again, that's a win too. So, you know, if I were to chart this trajectory in broad contours, I think there would be some ease of economic sanctions, getting the North Korean economy, trying to get some of the economic leverage. At the same time, extending these moratoriums across the nuclear programs, across the missile programs, would where some broadly in that direction is where this could head. Analysts are always at a risk for making predictions, but why not?
Thank you, Bharat. Thank you so much. So yes, clearly expectations are there, but everybody has to manage their expectations. Given that these two leaders are extremely unpredictable, they are unconventional, but everybody wants that something different should come out of this, and it should not just be a benign exercise that's going to happen here in Singapore.
Right. Thank you so much, Poonam. We're going to come back to you, you know, for more on this summit as it has just started. In fact, the one-on-one meeting has just started, just been 20 minutes or so, Geeta, that they have been speaking together. At least Donald Trump was threatening to leave in 1 minute. That has not happened. So at least something is going to come out of this.
Well, absolutely. It's been a little over 20 minutes, Ankit, that the leadership has started having that one-on-one conversation with interpreters in the room. Soon there will be the entire delegation. I can now tell you what the Korean delegation is also going to look like. The American delegation, Ankit, has Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, John Kelly, who's the Chief of Staff, John Bolton, the National Security Advisor, Sung Kim, we were talking about him, he's the American ambassador to Philippines, and a very strong Korea hand, Matt Pottinger, National Security Council, Senior Director for Asia. But we also have a very strong North Korean delegation, Kim Yo-jong, and we've been talking about her for a while now. She is the sister of Kim Jong-Un. Kim Yong-chol, he's the Vice Chairman of Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. Kim Chang-song is effectively the Chief of Staff, so a very important person. Cho Son-hui is the Vice Foreign Minister, and Kim Kai-gwon, again, the other Vice Foreign Minister. So that's the delegation that will sit across the table and have that conversation on how to take things forward between the United States of America and North Korea, Ankit. So for now, it's a one-on-one restricted meeting that is underway, and nothing bad has come out of it. We've not heard anyone storm out of the room.
You know, I also wanted to understand from you, we know a lot about Donald Trump. We have seen how Donald Trump reacts to certain situations. He's unpredictable. He has, in fact, gone back on many international commitments that were made by the previous regimes in the United States. But little is known about Kim Jong-un. In that sense, both these leaders, how would they initially gauge each other? Because it will be very important on what they make of each other for any result to come out of the summit.
Well, that's right. While the world does not know much about Kim Jong-un or how he behaves, we've known of the things that he's done. He's despotic. He, again, is not just unpredictable, but can be rather ruthless. He's got his own uncle killed for suspecting of certain activities that he considered anti-North Korea or his own regime. So this whole trust issue is also a big thing. He took over North Korea when he himself was very young, so he's been learning the ropes of the trade with no advisors, no real advisors around. And that's the reason why we see not just unpredictability, but also a lot of terrifying news that we've seen come from North Korea has been to do with the high-handedness with which he deals with his own staff and his people, at the cost of how the people, the common man of North Korea, is really living, and that again is in dire straits. So a lot of reading when it comes to what Kim Jong-un and who Kim Jong-un has been done by the Korea desk in the United States of America, and Donald Trump has been briefed very well as to what really to expect out of this meeting.
Well, we still have time before both these leaders come out of that one-on-one meeting and we get to know exactly what they made of each other, but they have had a past of extremely bitter exchanges, calling each other names. Take a look at this report and we're going to come back to this live discussion. Donald Trump, since taking over as President of the United States of America, has had a bitter war of words with Kim Jong-un. The bitter exchanges between the two leaders started after North Korea conducted several ballistic missile tests in defiance of international warnings.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
Referring to Kim as the little rocket man, the US president vowed to unleash fire and fury if Pyongyang kept threatening the United States.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal state.
This led to retaliation and counter-retaliations, with Kim saying United States was within the range of their nuclear button.
미국 번터 전역이 우리의 핵 타격 사정권 안에 있으며 핵 단추가 내 사무실 책상 위에 항상 놓여 있다는 것. 이는 결코 위협이 아닌 현실임을 똑바로 알아야 합니다.
While taunting the North Korean leader about the size of his nuclear arsenal, Trump said the nuclear button in Washington was much bigger and more powerful. In September 2017, North Korea remained defiant and carried out its 6th nuclear test. Soon after, Kim declared his country had achieved its mission of becoming a nuclear state, with missiles that could be used to target the United States. The signs of change became evident when in early 2018, North Korea began attempts to improve relations with South Korea by sending a team and delegates to the Winter Olympics in Seoul.
Before we start, I just had a phone call with the president of South Korea, President Moon, and they are in dialogue, at least as it concerns the Olympics, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
US President surprised the world in March this year when he accepted an invitation from Kim, which was delivered through South Korea. Although there have been hiccups, with Trump at once calling off the meeting completely.
We'll be meeting on June 12th in Singapore. It went very well. It's really a get-to-know-you kind of a situation.
But after deliberations, the two leaders will now sit down together in Singapore, and the world is watching. Bureau Report, India Today. All right, Geeta, North Korea is close to the world. It's known as the hermit nation. Not much is known about it, barring China. There are no, in fact, trans-border transportation or any sort of, this sort of an opening up of the country is there as far as North Korea is concerned. Will this also begin as opening up of North Korea? It has great potential in terms of the minerals that the country has. So this possibly would also be, all right, these are live visuals, if I'm not mistaken, that are coming in from Singapore. It was supposed to be a 45-minute meeting, so I'm not sure whether the entire 45-minute is over or they just come out, for a break or what it is. Geeta, would you like to take that on?
Yeah, in all probability it was when they were walking in, that's when these visuals were taken, and we're getting a deferred live visuals of the two leaders maybe walking into the room. We have no confirmation of the meeting having gotten over yet. So and we do know that Donald Trump led the way. He asked Kim Jong-Un to first move forward and then followed through. So these visuals are the similar ones where he was walking through the passageway and then taken into the room where they were going to have their delegation level, their restricted meeting. So this, in all probability, Ankit, is a deferred live of visuals of the two leaders walking after the handshake into the room where they are to have their restricted meeting. And yes, a lot of smiles there. We did not see the visuals earlier, so it's good to see that that they found some sort of comfort in terms of how they are going to interact with each other, and were not absolutely looking out of place. Neither of them was really looking out of place. So a good start for now for the two leaders, but again, it all depends on what the two leaders really discuss. And while there are delegations and they have discussed, prepared for the meeting, it all depends on now how the leaders are going to take things forward. It could end today itself, or it could just be a new beginning. One will have to wait and see, Ankit.
Right. I was just talking, in fact, to you about the fact. Okay, all right. Before we do that, let's just tell our viewers about a little bit of history. Another historic summit that before this one, in fact, that took place between the two Korean countries. It happened after a very long time when the North Korean leader Kim Jong-Un met South Korean President Moon Jae-in. For the first time, a North Korean leader ever set foot on the South Korean soil since the end of the Korean War in 1953.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.